everyone. I am Angelique Jackson, Senior Entertainment Writer over at Variety, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the global press conference for The Color Purple. I mean, we're over here, we're laughing, we're singing, we're loving. That is what this film does. I had the pleasure of being with you all last night for the world premiere here in Los Angeles.
Yes! That was spectacular. We loved it.
All right, Miss Winfrey, y'all rolled out the purple carpet at the Academy Museum, bringing this whole journey full circle in some ways because you're paying tribute to the legacy of The Color Purple. You, of course, were Oscar nominated for that role.
This is so funny. That's like, what, 40 years ago? We still using Oscar nominated. I love it. That's great.
That goes forever.
Wikipedia, it does not go away.
That's so funny. Okay. Thank you.
When you think back to those nights in 1985 when the first film premiered, what does it mean to you to be here in this moment as the executive producer of this film, bringing this important seminal work back to life?
Okay. As one of the producers, Scott Sanders, Steven Spielberg, and myself, along with the great Quincy Jones, it feels like people talk about full circle moments all the time. It is completely full circle for me. Actually, I saw a photograph of Steven and I on the carpet from last night, and I sent it to him this morning saying, I am in awe of what God has done. Because to remember me being in Baltimore, reading that book and never even understanding how I could ever connect with somebody like a Steven Spielberg, to now be standing on a purple carpet with him almost 40 years later. Look what God has done. That's what it feels like. It feels like I said to him in my text this morning, yet do I marvel at what God has done in my life, in the sweetness of life. It is just, you know, for somebody who's about to turn 70, it is the sweetest, sweetest of moments.
It's powerful. This cast is powerful. This work is powerful. Blitz, I'm actually going to turn to you for a moment because your vision is powerful. Tell me about presenting that vision to the people in this room, both the producers and the cast.
Yes. Wow. You know, it all begins first with, of course, Alice Walker's brilliant Pulitzer Prize-winning book. I mean, that's the Holy Grail, as we call it. It was what we would always go to in times of uncertainty, right? And then, of course, this work has kind of, you know, grown these tentacles that are expansive. Of course, Steven Spielberg's cinematic classic, the Tony Award-winning Broadway play, and then, of course, Marcus Gardley's brilliant script. So when I got it, you know, it was really about asking myself, what can you possibly add? Where can you possibly go? It's already done, and it's done brilliantly, you know, and it wasn't until, you know, taking some time and going back to the book, which I hadn't read in a while, and just opening that first page, and first page, first line, dear God, I'm 14 years old, and you go, oh, wow. That's where it all lives. It lives in the headspace of this young girl who is trying to find her way out of this torment and this torture. And that brings us to this place of brilliant imagination and how she's able to imagine her way out of it and then act her way out of it, which is where we all, I think that's one thing we can all relate to, is before any of us got here on this press conference, we all come from very modest, very small backgrounds, and we had to dream and imagine our ways here. So that's what I did, was just going back to that kid in Ghana without much. There was no film school to go to, you know, there was no music school to go to. I just had a pencil and a pad, and that's all I did was draw as a kid. And those pieces of artwork have been the thing that I've always been able to go back to. So in terms of pitching it, I just became that kid again, going back into that room and going, okay, I know that if I can see it and if I can draw it, then I can share it. And then maybe people will see that vision. And that's how I pitched it. I came as prepared as I could to show it.
We felt it. We felt it too.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
blown away.
Yeah, yeah.
There's actually a question from Ruthie Fireberg from Broadway News that speaks to that, you know, explaining that, of course, this take feels different than the 2005 Broadway production and the 2015 revival as well, as far as the musical aspects go. So what was it like? Was it the producer's intention? This question is to you and Scott. Was it the producing team's intention to present another take to add to the canon, and then did that then evolve? And if you could kind of just speak to the idea that this is obviously not the stage musical on film. So it was never the intention, I believe Ruthie's question is, was it ever the intention to just, okay, we're gonna make the musical on film, and then it evolved when Blitz came into the picture? Or was it that y'all had a vision to reimagine it from the jump, and then his vision was the perfect reimagining?
You know, it started with the musical as the foundation, but we knew that we didn't just want to do a musical adaptation as a film, because Blitz said, this is such a cornerstone of black culture. It's such an important, that Stevens movie was such an iconic classic film, that you better have a lot of reasons and a lot of visionary rationale for why you would embark on doing something as ambitious as this film. And so we knew we had the music, these beautiful songs written by Brenda Russell, Allie Willis, Stephen Bray. We knew we had dance and Fatima's choreography, or a choreographer's interpretation in the storytelling mode. But the magical realism, the part where we actually were able to go inside Ceely's imagination and show a protagonist in a way that the audiences have never seen before, that was really the secret sauce, I think, that got everybody excited about, yeah, we should go for this.
Yeah.
We should do this.
We actually certainly hadn't thought of that or heard of that until you presented it. And that's why when he presented it, we were like, whoa, that is what we call additive for sure. Yeah, he literally added another dimension, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and that type of storytelling makes this, everybody that's been talking about this movie in terms of, is this a remake? No, it's not a remake. And we use the word reimagination sort of loosely, but really it's taking everything that's great about The Color Purple and adding some fresh elements to it, so that if you love the book, if you love the play, if you love the first movie, I think you're gonna love this, and then you're gonna be so surprised at what you're about to see. It's a visual masterpiece.
But also, may I just add, you know, I'm always looking for the spiritual in all physical things, because I think that first and foremost, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so the spiritual aspect of Blitz's story is what actually, I think, helped embolden this entire process, because to know you as a little boy drawing in Ghana with dreams, never imagining that those dreams would lead you to this moment, means that nothing that you ever do is wasted.
Oh,
Not
Oprah
one
Winfrey.
thing you ever do is wasted. I just want to make that point.
I think
Not one thing you ever do is wasted.
I think that point is very visually represented by all of the journeys of everyone up here. I know you all have your own stories with this story, with your journeys to get to this point. For a couple of y'all, it does include The Color Purple on Broadway, Fantasia, and Ms. Danielle Brooks. Tell me a little bit about transferring these characters from stage to screen, because obviously it is a different process, and y'all are different women.
Totally different process. You know, again, when I played it the first time, I was very, very young, and The Color Purple was the first Broadway show I had ever seen. And life for me was different. There's a lot going on, so I was carrying my cross and Ceely's cross at the same time, which was very heavy. When Blitz came back to me, well, Scott called first, and I said, Scott, I don't think I can do it. I don't know. Blitz called, and just sitting here hearing you talk about it, you know, what it was to you, that came across on the phone. I could see how passionate it was to you, how you were not stopping. And when you said, I'm giving her an imagination, that is different from Broadway. She doesn't have an imagination on Broadway. So it leaves the audience thinking or trying to figure out what it is they feel she thought about or how she got through it. And then in the end, here comes I'm here. And so you see the crowd go up because they're like, I was waiting for that moment. But how did she get there? And so when he said, I'm giving her an imagination, I said, I'm in. Because I can relate in so many ways to Celie. Stepping on the set, Broadway is pretty fast. Once the show starts, you gotta go. You can feel it, but you don't get a whole lot of time to sit in like you do on set. And I remember there would be times I would hear Blitz in the back screaming, "Let it breathe!" and so you could drop a pin because he's allowing us the time to sit with the character. That feels really, really different. And so for me, I had a new experience with Celie this time. And then I'm gonna pass it to Dan, but I'm always gonna keep it honest. Before you guys called, I had just started traumatic therapy. If anybody doesn't know what that is when they tap into your childhood, the little girl, when you have suppressed or forgotten things that may be hindering you in your adult life. And so I thought I was going to keep that going, but I had to let it go. My life coach, Dr. Anita Phillips, one of the best, she would text me and say, I feel we need to talk. And I told her, I said, but we can't. I have to give young Fantasia to Celie this go round. Wow. And that is how I came up at CinemaCon with I was healed. Because most people were like, but you're married now. You're looking good. We thought you were like, I'm like, yeah, I am. But I still was working on some things that you guys didn't know about. And through this time around playing her and living with her and things not going so fast, she was my life coach. She was my therapist, and I was allowed to heal. So it was totally different.
That's exactly that. That's that spirit moving.
You could feel it on set. It wasn't easy, but we had to do it.
Yeah, I just want to say you put in the work, you did the work, and wasn't easy for you. And the fact that you said yes to us, we are still, even now, more doubly honored, knowing that putting yourself through that again and having to reach a point where you could use what had happened to you to actually channel Celie is just amazing.
This has just been a great experience altogether. I mean, it's very rare that as artists we get to play someone in theater and then go a few years later, play them again in film in another medium. So that was super special. That's the stuff that I live for as an artist. When we did the John Doyle rendition in 2015, the revival, it was really just kind of black box style, wood and wooden chairs. And we really had to use our imagination. We had to have the audience go on that journey with us. I did not have a real baby. You know, I had to use bed sheets to create that baby in my hand. Or, you know, I didn't have the white mob actually attacking me. The audience and myself really had to create that through the mind, which is what you want to do as an artist anyway. But it felt like there's still limitations to that world. So getting to do this and actually be in the Georgia sun and be working on plantations and think about the brothers and sisters that might have been hung and lynched on those trees and actually having a 10-pound baby in my hand that I had to take care of. It just opened up the world. Oh my God, it was just like a playground for me, you know, to get to actually kick dust and versus just kick wood. I'm like, it was great. And so also to like have this experience, which is a new bunch of people, different actors, different energies, you know, what Corey brought and the relationship that we already had established as friends, getting to bring that into this world. And also knowing half of y'all already anyway, was just very, very special. So yeah, I feel very lucky, blessed, I like that word better, to have gotten to play in both universes.
I mean, you can see the bonds that have formed that are forever bonds And I'm, you know, you see it on screen too, in so many of these numbers. Everyone who's watching this press conference, of course, has seen the film. So it feels like we can get into like a couple of things.
Good to know. Didn't know that.
But there's, you know, for example, a moment like Miss Seeley's Pants. That is a fun, wonderful number, but it's made all the more grounded by knowing that these women have each other's backs and they've gone through all these things. Taraji, I'm going to add you into this sisterhood in that conversation. You know, as you play Suge Avery, as you embody this incredible woman.
Brilliantly.
No.
Wait till you hear her sing. Wait till you hear her sing.
Tell me about, you know, building this character and also building that sisterhood, because you know, Suge Avery and Sophia are the two women that really step in for Nettie.
To be quite honest, I don't think Suge really had a lot of female friends until she met Celie. Till she encountered Celie. So, you know, she's known to be a loose woman. But, you know, I think for me, how I broke it down was, you know, usually women, and I can't speak for every woman, this is what I did for Suge. She was loose and she gave herself to a lot of men, and her vibrato and her bass and her, I can say like I want to say it, was to cover up a tender sweetness that really lied underneath. And usually people who have big, that's their defense mechanism. And so even sleeping with all of these different men was a defense mechanism, because I can't let you get too close to my tenderness and my sweetness. So that's what I wanted to lean into for her. I wanted to lean into that tenderness and that sweetness, because we just see her being so bigger than life. And so that's why those moments with Celie were so tender and so sweet, because that's what love is, just a tender touch of real unconditional love. And so when these women really see each other, like Mr. didn't see her, no one saw her but her sister was ripped away from her, right? And so she has a void. And then here come this other woman with this huge void. And then they see each other. Like they really see each other. And that's when they start to pour into each other. And they teach each other what love really is and how you handled that. Because it's not about sex. It's about love. Who cares what they doing in the bed? It's literally about humans connecting. And that's what happened with Celie and Suge. It was just such a precious, precious experience, actually. Suge brings my relationship back with God as well. Absolutely, yeah. In the color purple talk in the field, yeah. 'Cause at that point, You I were was just questioning. kinda like, girl, don't talk. And it's odd that it's coming from the loose woman.
Yes.
That's why you shouldn't throw stones.
That's
And no
why.
one's perfect. Good stuff.
All of that part. I'm gonna take us to back in the timeline a moment, and speak to you, Miss Halle Bailey, and you, Miss Phylicia Mpasi, the young Nettie and Celie. Tell me a little bit about building that sisterhood, because that sisterhood is the foundation that carries us through the rest of the film.
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, I was so excited to even join this beautiful film, because I feel I'm just a fan of everyone, honestly. When I step on here, I'm like fangirling everyone. And it's such a beautiful thing to be able to walk onto a set and feel like you're protected by your own. And I feel like they have lifted me up, especially Phylicia, when we were doing our scenes together. And I know I sound like a broken record. I've said this a lot, but I was really pulling from my relationship with my own sister, Chloe, when it came off of building Nettie's personality and her traits and her strength and power. And I really honestly was playing off of how my sister Chloe is for me and what kind of guide she's been for me my whole life. Because Nettie is such a symbol of hope and perseverance and joy, and just that reminder that love and positivity needs to be shown through us, even in the darkest moments. I felt like I had a really great, I guess, guide from my sister Chloe, and then able to play it with the beautiful Phylicia, who helped me so much. It was a really beautiful experience, and like many of you all were saying, I mean, I've felt closer to God with the making of this film. Like, I think that's why I really wanted to join you all on this journey. And I remember Blitz had called and, you know, mentioned, and I think I was in the middle of filming Mermaid when I actually submitted my self-tape for it. And I remember the first thing on reading it was that I would have to submit me singing a gospel song. And I remember being so excited and like, thank God, like, yay. And I think I sang, I don't know, It Is Well
It Is
with my
Well,
soul.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which was so
Yeah.
beautiful. So
You want to ask her to?
the tapes, you know, we got the tapes. We got
We'll put those in the Smithsonian.
that was beautiful.
Thank
Just
you.
so
But I took that as a sign, like, wow, this is a project where I'll not only be lifted by my own and protected, but I feel like God is helping me and guiding me to this project to teach me things about what I should know about myself in the future and how to continue on this journey, because I'm still very new, you know, and looking to them for guidance, you know.
And Phylicia, your journey was fated as well.
Yes. I saw the audition online. I just Googled Color Purple because I knew it was happening the day we buried my grandmother. So I felt like the whole process was kind of anointed, even when it felt like I wasn't going to be part of it. And by the time we got to the chemistry, I remember I don't know if I was sitting on the bench, like always in my script, as always looking at my lines. You were like, do you want to go over this scene or something? Like, how are you feeling? And I was like, oh my God, she's talking to me? Like, what? Whoa. And just from there, like, I pulled from my relationship with my younger sister, who's the Nettie in my life. Like, she really stands up for me. And because this was such a new environment for me, I only could kind of surrender and really just follow your lead. And with every step, you gave me so much grace, so much guidance, and just had my back the entire time. And it felt like the process could only be joyous, because I think you are just a bright light in the world. And we really talked about emphasizing the relationship between the two sisters in this, and it just was so easy with you.
And I have to say, you know, this Color Purple family that you can see is real on this sofa. I remember one night Blitz was going to shoot I'm Here, and we were about an hour outside of Atlanta, outside on a street. It was, I don't know, 40, 50 degrees. It was cold that night. And I'm walking around in a coat, and we're all trying to get hand warmers. And in two director chairs, there's Halle and Phylicia. And I'm like, I looked at the call. I'm like, I looked at the call sheet for today. I don't think you two are on today's call sheet, are you? And they said, we knew Fantasia was going to sing I'm Here tonight. We would not miss this for the world. And you were all bundled up in coats and sat there till like 2 a.m. watching Fantasia do I'm Here. It was so moving and beautiful to see.
And it was very helpful because that was hard. And we did that, I don't know how many times. Codes. And not only, like, all of the dancers was there that night, too. And so, you know, tapping into I'm Here is you have to really take that from your soul. Soul singing. And I remember I would always try to sing it and go off to the corner because that's where I needed to stay. But somebody will walk up to me and say, I just want to tell you something. When you sang this part or that part or this part or that part was healing to them. So even when I got tired, even when I got cold, even when Blitz would say, I need it one more time. No lip singing. No. He was asking me to sing it all live for Celie and for everybody who's going to watch this movie that I know for a fact would do the same thing that they were doing on the set. The healing that was happening, I had to surrender and just give it all to her. But that moment was big because everybody was pulling me to the side. Both men, people that worked on the set, Tim, he came up to me and was like, I just want to say, like, thank you. You know, like, he's behind the camera, but he's still watching, and we're watching this movie bless everybody on set. So thank you for asking me to sing it 1,000,000 times. Thank you for coming, and because it was needed.
want to talk about that healing because it feels as if sitting in that room last night, you could feel the healing happening. Each number, each song, everything you're going through, of course, culminating in that glorious amen, this chorus of voices. I'm gonna go to my men's because y'all have not been approached yet. How did you all heal playing these roles?
How can you not? I mean, personally, I think like this was not an easy shoot. It wasn't easy in any way. There's elements that are seismic that have never been done before. And we were coming together to do this incredibly charged work that touches on possibly some of our own trauma. We have to unpack, we have to bring a part of ourselves, something. There's something in each one of us, in each one of these characters. And that means you have to go into your own family history, your own history with trauma, your own history of healing. It's going to open you up. You have to find different ways to be, and how do we care? You know, you're doing this dance. We don't know how to do this dance with each other. How do we care for each other? How do we care for the work? How do we take care of ourselves? How do we make sure that we're all being heard? But knowing that the work, there was a great demand because it was so important and so spiritual. They said that this is what's necessary. So we all had to go into that darkness, whatever that was, and trust that there was joy there, and touch each other. I mean, we did a lot of touching and making sure and checking in with each other to do some really hard stuff and have some long nights. So I think that I know it's changed me. Do I know exactly how it's changed me yet? I don't know, but I know I needed to go into the darkness of this character, knowing that he affects every single person in this film. It's always, he's triggering everybody to work through some stuff because he's such a broken individual too. And when we watched the premiere last night, I remembered, I'm like, oh, what was the thing that stuck out to me about Mister that I hung on to was the fact that when he's stumbling and drunk and he says, I could have been in Suge's band.
Yeah, that's it for me.
I could have been in Suge's band. What women used to toss off their drawers, you know. But he was I could have been a contender. I could have been someone. I could have left, but I had to farm my daddy's land.
Yeah.
So he had dreams too. He was a dreamer like everybody else. So this is also so we can unpack that and see that this is why he put his foot on this woman's neck. This is why he tried to abuse others. This is what he was taught about how to treat women. You know what I mean? So he's trying to unpack them. Then these women have been evolving. As we know, women evolve way more than men. Quicker, faster, you know? But yeah. No, but it's true. And then the men are slow to the evolution. And everyone else is evolving around him. And then he's stuck. And then that one scene we saying when he and my dad, Lou Gossett Jr., are sitting across from each other, you're looking at this history, this traumatic history of passing this down, this trauma and this toxic masculinity that must be broken. And whatever they've been handed, whether even being black men in America, and trying to find their place in it. So it's unpacking all this stuff. So I think we all had to examine who are we, who are our relationships with men, with women, with each other, my father, son, all that stuff. So I feel like, I'm sure, even my own relationship with my dad, my big blue-collar dad, I had to figure that stuff out because I was a soft kid. And my dad was very tough and didn't know how to handle me in many ways. And I think that I know that I can see that as part of their relationship. My dad wasn't abusive or anything. My dad actually would break down at some point and tell me how much he admired me because I was doing things. He was telling me, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but it made me, he sanded hardwood floors for a living. He was a big guy, and he came into my life, and he really raised me and my siblings. He was my stepdad. And he would tell me, he's like, now, boy, you know, I would go work with him, make some summer money. And he said, you know, I don't want you to do this work. I don't want you to work with your hands. I don't want to break you back. I want your hands clean. And so he was pouring that into me to be a bit more delicate in a way that he couldn't be. So, and I feel like I called on that relationship with us. I can see that. It's like I see in moments that he admires him and wishes he could be like him, but he doesn't know how to take a step. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I think, so I know that there's some healing that has happened. I can't specifically say exactly what it is, but I know it's changed me. It's changing the way how I look after the people I work with. How, you know, I listen to my producer who calls me and says, how's everybody doing? And I want to be honest and sincere so we can actually get the work done. No, there's no time for any BS. It's just about knowing what's in the middle is something so purposeful and mindful. And this film has all of our families on it. We've joined Alice Walker's family, you know, and so that's why we know it's a calling. It's a higher calling. So it's changed me in some way that I don't even know yet.
I love that.
That's so good.
I'm just
Full change. How's it change?
because I think it's still I'm still healing from it. Last night, my father got to sit next to me
Oh, wow.
at the premiere and watch this story, and sorry,
Speak, but
it
no,
just,
no apologies, no apologies.
Take your time.
Speak your truth, Barrino.
he doesn't often get a chance to be himself, and I know this was a lot for him. Meeting all of you. Last time he saw Danielle was our graduation. He is also blue collar. Our love language has evolved over the years, but to sit with him and watch him process and feel was special for me as a man, as a black man. Watching how he responded to this story at this point in his life. After all of his trauma that I've witnessed and been a part of, I was watching him be healed by this story. And so all I can say is that I'm just grateful that that Harpo, that y'all gave the gift of Harpo to me in this moment in my life, because Harpo has a song. We talk about how Mr. doesn't necessarily, he's trying to find his song,
Yeah.
you know? From the beginning to the end, he's trying to find his song. And Harpo has a song. He has joy, and he makes a decision to step into that and let that little black boy joy. You also give him imagination. He imagines the juke joint, you know? He imagines a new kind of love for Sophia. Despite his flaws, he sees something better, and that comes from God, right? That comes from God. He wants to change, and he does. And there's this little thing about imagination that always gets me. It's like we encourage kids to play, right? We encourage kids, you got to play, go outside and play, right? Have an imagination, have an imagination. And if for some reason we turn a certain age and everybody says grow up, and it's weird to me, but I'm grateful for the work that we do as artists, as creators, as entertainers, because we have the luxury and the privilege to not grow up, to continue imagining for the people who are unable to imagine, for the people like my father, like our parents' parents, our siblings who have to do this every day. So I'm just grateful. I'm still healing from this, and seeing it last night was a healing moment for me. I know my pops was just thrilled to be there with y'all and take pictures.
Pops, I call my pop.
Yeah,
pop
I call him pop. Yeah. But that's it. That's what you do. But I'm grateful.
And
And
he came up to me on the carpet
He
last
did?
night, and he said, "Hi, I'm Corey's dad." And I said, "You're Corey's dad?" I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "Have you seen the movie yet?" He goes, "No, this is my first time." And I said, "You're gonna love your boy. You're gonna love seeing your boy. That's great."
beautiful. I mean, I just want to say, you know, being in the middle and remembering what our rehearsals were, you know, that space, like what you see here, what you feel here, was all we did. Yeah, we read lines. Yeah, we did some blocking. But I really remember the conversations and us talking about our lives, our complex relationships with our parents, with our families, with art, being black on this planet, being in this black body and its complexities. And that's what I looked forward to. Yeah, again, we knew we had to get ready for the film. But what the conversations we had and getting to truly know each other in a truly intimate way, the vulnerabilities, that's what I called on when I yell action. I trust that you know. You know, I don't have to do all of that. I trust that you know because I know you, because we've talked and we've talked about all the complexities and the tangentials and how do we arrive here, you know, and I, you know, sometimes I go, man, should I have gone to film school? You know, would I know better? Would I be a better director? No, I didn't have the chance to do that. I didn't have the resources to do that. But what I've counted on is the heart. It's the heart. And that has never steered me wrong in working with all of you and in being changed by all of you. That has been the focal point. And so when you talk about what those journeys were for all of us, boy, that healing has been real. And you know, Tasia, like I'm still in it. You know, I'm still trying to figure out. My mom and dad have not seen this film yet. I know my mom will see things she will recognize. She couldn't be here because she's caring for my dad, who sadly had a stroke while we were shooting the film. I couldn't, it was tough. I didn't tell anybody. I had to wake up every day knowing my dad was in a chair, immobilized. And I was in the middle of doing this work, but I also could remember that if I could just get to the end of this, if I could just get to the end of this, it was like, what, day 30, this happened. My whole family's running helter-skelter. My mom doesn't know what to do. This has never happened to anybody where I'm from. Nobody has ever come anywhere close to making a studio picture. So I'm dealing with all of this, and all I can rely on is y'all. That's all I got. It's just beautiful words and y'all. And I'm showing up every day like it's all good, you know? But the work itself is healing work. And doing it, guys, I have to say, I cannot wait. My dad is feeling better now, still not all there. My mom is his primary caretaker, and you know, it's another thing that with all what she's been through, she's still there. She's still there. And so I just want to say, like, you know, I'm thankful. That's all I got to say, because I see the work now and I go, wow, it was worth it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blitz.
And we have just one last question left. This comes from Vivian Quam from the New York Daily News, and it's to you, Miss Winfrey. And Vivian, I apologize. I'm going to tweak your question slightly. But you've spoken so much about your spiritual journey to playing the role of Sophia in 1985. What does it feel like to see this spiritual journey continue and continue for all of these people here on this sofa, and all the people who are going to be watching this film, hopefully with their families, or maybe hoping to be with their families on Christmas Day? How does it feel to continue that healing?
Vivian, is it Vivian, right?
Yes, Vivian.
I want to just thank you for that question, and I just want to say, last night on the carpet, I realized that what I felt the moment I got the role in The Color Purple was, wow, God can dream a bigger dream for me than I could dream for myself, because I never thought I was going to be playing a role. I was just going to be Water Girl or Best Girl at the end of the movie. And so what it feels like is that the dream and the journey is bigger than us all. And I was imagining, as I was actually on the carpet talking to people last night, and now to you, Vivian, that this is what we're doing in 2023, and who knows where this evolves to in 2053, because the spirit, the worth, the depth, the energy that was first created in 1982 when Alice Walker released this into the world is as needed now as it was then, and will certainly in the future of AI be needed even more. And nothing that this movie offers can be replaced by a machine or by AI or by technology. And everything that you feel when you come up out of watching this on Christmas Day, you will be lifted. Tasia says you'll be healed, you will also be lifted. And so I just want to encourage all of you who've seen it, and I know you're journalists and you have to be all journalistic-like, but you know what you felt when you saw it. And I just want to encourage you to spread the word and to share it with other people, because I will have to say, and we were talking about this amongst ourselves today, it's a completely different experience in a theater. Oh my goodness. And with other people, and I saw things and felt things in the movie that I hadn't
Very communal.
even watching take after take after take so many times. It became a different experience, and we hope that it is a healing, lifting experience for everybody. And thank you always for your poignant, lovely questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Angelique, you do such a good job. You have seen this movie, you have lived it with us and breathed it with us, and we really, really, really appreciate your support.
It is an honor of a lifetime. It truly is. This movie healed me too. And I thank you for your candor always and for sharing these stories. You know, like you said, we're all journalists trying to be all journalisty up in here. But we have feelings too.
But I know.
And we feel when we watch this film. So thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for your time. This is a lot of.
Give me that tissue, please.
I was saying, somebody give. I was trying to. No, I was getting it. Tasia. Okay, babe.